but now talking about that, from what's real and what's fake, how do you go about it this in 2024 with identifying, those fake independent playlisting chains? Like how can an artist that's let's say they outside of working alongside with you, which by the way I recommend if you want to get independent playlisting serviced for you, you work with Brendan. He's somebody that is vetted when it comes to putting you in legitimate playlists. But if it's not, if you're seeking other other avenues, how can someone identify what is real and what isn't?
So the best way to identify what's real and what isn't with playlisting is probably through looking at the number of listeners to the number of streams. If the number is very high, like 10 listeners for 100 streams, or there's one listener per 10 streams, like a 10-to-1 ratio, you're not going to get huge listener to stream ratios on your playlisting, because again, these are people who are in the gym, they have your shit on, they hit the phones in their pocket, they're listening to one song, they listen to Kanye West, then they listen to me, then they listen to the next part, like you're smashed in between, which is a
Passive
beautiful
listeners.
thing, because they're passive listeners. They listen to Kanye, then they listen to you, so they automatically get kind of like, ooh, this guy's on Kanye's level, this guy's one of them, and if they love your song, they'll look. But it's less likely than from an ad, where if they get an ad, they're going to look at you on social media, they're going to go off of social media, it's a way different level of time investment, and that's why the cost is like 10x or 15x to get a listener from that. So again, it's pros and cons, but so the ratios aren't going to be very, very high when it comes to listeners to stream, which again, it could be a positive too, because if you get a 50,000 stream campaign, you might end up with 30,000 monthly listeners, which is great for social proof and metrics and leveraging that into deals and leveraging that into artists. So again, pros and cons, but that's one way to tell. If you only get 5,000 listeners, but you got 50,000 or 100,000 streams, boom, it's fake. That means it's coming from a bot farm. Also, if people listening now, the listening now should never spike, right? So it shouldn't be like one person, 99 people, one person, 100 people. That's another way to tell that it's fake, because again, they're just pumping all the streams at once.
Okay.
That's another way. Another way is if all of the artwork on the playlists are the same. So if you see like not the artwork, but like this isn't necessarily an indicator, because I know real playlists that have, but basically if your playlister sends you a bunch of lists and they're all like perfect artwork, because like you got to remember, these curators who own these playlists are like fucking people in Europe. The real ones, they're not perfect with graphic design. They're not, it almost looks a little fake in a weird way. If it looks really clean and really real, that's how you know it's fake, because it's like anything in music that's like too good to be true, it is. So that's another way to tell. Like I've used a fake playlisting service like years ago and fucked up a song's algorithm that I put out, and yeah, it's just like they immediately within 24 hours sent me all the lists. They all looked really nice and clean and organized and had a similar, like, it's just like that is
It was
clearly
too
fake.
coordinated.
Yeah, like playlisting, I won't get you a list until sometimes 10 days after your release, because I'm pitching these 3 lists, and if they decline, then I pitch these 3 lists, and then I pitch, so it's like a real thing with real people messaging back. I always aim to get it within 3 to 4 days, but I always say, hey, 7 to 10 days after your release, you'll start receiving lists. So if you're getting it within 24 hours, that's another telltale sign. And then within the real people who provide real lists, there's like levels to that too. One is setting the right expectations. 2 is the level of communication. Like I've dealt with a lot of teams that just really poor at communicating. They'll over create expectations just to close you, and it's just crazy to me, because I always think about longevity with a client. Like I want them to speak my name with the utmost love and like honesty and feel good. I would die knowing my reputation is getting tarnished out there. So I always set, I wouldn't say low expectations, but very realistic. There's a lot of companies who are reputable and who do real playlisting that will set very high expectations. They'll fall very short of their minimums they guarantee. Following up, oh yeah, we'll fix it right away. They don't fix it. It's a fucking bitch, bro. It's a bitch working with certain people. So like the thing I always try to provide is like clear communication, clear expectations. You know what you're getting. I offer information on how to leverage it, how to take what I give you and turn it into deals and turn it into collabs, turn it into content with references, with scripts, things like that. so that there's added value. I add some graphics so you have content to post on social media. Just like what have I done to leverage because I have like 350,000 monthly listeners. What have I done to leverage my listener base into deals, into money, into transactions, into things that actually have tangible results? I try to teach them as well. So I keep my client base relatively small, boutique, so that, I'm able to provide that level of service to everybody. If someone needs an hour call, they can call me in the middle of the day and I'll pick up and take the call with them. And if I don't fuck with someone, I just don't work with them. It's, very simple.
Awesome. No, thank you for breaking all of that down. And I didn't even know that that's how you could distinguish what's real and what's fake, with the independent playlisting. So that's very insightful right there. I appreciate that, Brendan.